Most entrepreneurs get into business because they want to make more money and have more time to enjoy that money with whatever serves their family or their wants best. The unfortunate truth is that most business owners will never experience that reality because the business depends on them doing everything. So what actually happens is that most business owners build a job and not a business. Hey guys, welcome to another video with Coach Joe from Action Coach. Do me a huge favor. Can you hit subscribe to this channel and tickle that bell so you can get all the notifications whenever we have more videos come up. But in today's video, I really want to talk about leverage. Leveraging your business so that it could work without you one day. When it comes to leveraging your business, it's really about creating systems so that every single area in your business that you do something in has a written out process, and it can be easily trained to anybody taking over that certain task or that certain project. Now, that can seem pretty daunting because if you really think about it, you have everything memorized in your head. And so now I'm forcing you to really put things on paper and figure this out the right way. Another thing is you probably do a lot of stuff in your business. There's a lot of small intricacies that all mesh together. So yes, it is hard, but if we don't do this, imagine how much harder it's going to be when you actually try to hire somebody or hire a key position. Or let's say the worst of the worst happens, you get sick or you can no longer do the business, but your business still needs attention and you have to hire for that. You won't be able to do that unless your business is leveraged through systems. So there's 4 areas that I want to share with you so you can start figuring out how to leverage your business. These are 4 areas to leverage in your business. The first one is people and education. So in your business, you're probably going to hire if you haven't already. If you've already hired people, you have people in your business. And you're also having to teach them. So there's an educational component there. So in this first area of leverage, here are some points to be able to leverage. Number 1, regular trainings. If you're not already doing it, everybody that actually works in your organization will have a different interpretation of how to do things. So one way to universalize all of your leverage systems is to do regular trainings. I actually go crazy with it. I do 1 a week for 1 hour. I feel like training and team meetings are the best investment of time that I can put into my team. So leverage regular trainings. How do those things look? Write it out. What topics will you train on? Write it out. And make sure that they're consistent so your team knows what to expect. The next one is performance reviews. Now that people know exactly what they're supposed to do and you have regular trainings, systemize performance reviews. Your team needs to know not just how to do it, but if they're doing it well or not well. And this will be a great time for you to address what they do well and also address and coach what they need to improve on. And lastly, document the roles and responsibilities for every team member in your business. If they don't know what to do, or if they only know 70% of what they're supposed to do, the rest is up for interpretation. And we all know that every human being interprets the same thing differently because we're all unique. So your organization is going to be the same exact way. So document roles and responsibilities very well and train on them. The second part to leverage is delivery and distribution. So there's a couple of things here. How do you deliver your product or your services is actually very important. It's important to stay consistent with it. So if you have a team of several people, you want to make sure that everybody in your organization does the same thing consistently. So how will that work? Well, have a procedure manual. This is a very, very large task, especially if you've been in business for a long time. So let me give you a hint on how to start. Come up with a table of contents. Now, I did this for one of my businesses. This is how I started. We cleaned air ducts, we cleaned dryer vents, we cleaned chimneys, and we did a couple of small other side jobs with that. And it was really hard for me to figure out how to start a manual. Well, my coach told me, start with what you already know and bullet point the topic. So if it's air duct cleaning, boom, that's a bullet point. Dryer vent cleaning, boom, that's a bullet point. And every bullet point you have up there, that now becomes your table of contents. Now that table of contents evolved from not just the services that we offer, but how to answer the phone, how to send out a bill, how to collect payment, how to wear your uniform, etc., etc. How to clean out our vans, how to take out the trash, how to turn on the AC. We started figuring out other things that we can leverage and systemize as we got really good at this. But start off with a table of contents, get everything in your brain on paper. And this way, every week when you have a couple of hours of spare time, you take one bullet point and start writing out the step-by-step procedure on how to do that. So that's part of delivery and distribution. Make sure that there's written standards. It's one thing to have a how to do, but there's another thing to say this is the standard of excellence that we require. So standards need to be talked about. We also call those key performance indicators, the results that you should expect when done right. The next thing is document workflow charts. So you have your procedure manual, and your team should read it and your team should understand it. But one thing that works very well for your team is to see how it works in action. And sometimes you can't get out and do that. So workflow charts are just a great way to show visibly how things are done and in what sequence. Let me give you an idea. Let's just say you're a service business, a home service business. Well, the first thing is a lead calls in or messages in, and you have to know in the workflow chart who's in charge of answering that message or answering that phone. Then the next step is to schedule the job. Who's in charge of that? Once the job is scheduled, what's the next step? What's the next step after that? And what's the next step after that? I love using a whiteboard and stickies for this because it really helps to show the workflows. So color-coded stickies for dispatch, maybe color-coded stickies for field technicians, color-coded stickies for whatever, and you can actually start moving the stickies around and give people a really good visual of how the workflow should be. So I love implementing those things into my system to leverage the business because it not only helps with the training, but it gives people a really good visual understanding of how things are done. The third part of your business that must be leveraged is accounting and testing and measuring. So business is about people and numbers, and this is the numbers part. How often are you looking at your financial reports? You have a bookkeeper, or at least you should, and you have an accountant that helps you with your taxes, or at least you should. If you don't, let that be the start of your leverage on the accounting part. But how often are you looking at your profit and loss statements to understand how much was brought in or how much was sold, how much was left over after cost of goods and cost of running the business are, so you can know your gross and net profit? And lastly, what type of cash flow is in your business? How much money are you leveraging through debt? Those are all very important things that you have to understand, and there needs to be a system around you looking at that as often as possible. Because as the business owner, you have to make the decisions. And if you're making decisions based off of a wild guess because you think you know your numbers, then you're in for something. And that something is not going to be good eventually. So systemize or leverage, frequently looking at all your financials, and hopefully you have a good bookkeeper and accountant, and you should probably do that with them. The next part of this section to leverage is KPI reporting or KPI dashboards. What is a KPI? A KPI is a key performance indicator. This is basically the type of performance that you should expect that indicates that you're doing a great job, right? So you have a job description and the performance indicator says you have to do X amount of things, X amount of times, and this is the result that we should get for it. The best example I can give you is for marketing, right? You want to be able to get a certain result through social media, for example. Well, key performance indicators are basically things that says, hey, if you post twice a day for this long, we should get a result of X amount of people looking at our reels, X amount of people commenting, and this many likes. That is a good key performance indicator. The reason why you should look those over frequently is so that way you don't give your team instructions on how to do things without a measurable performance on that. If you're just guessing, you're going to get a result. It might not be the result you're looking for. Another example of this is when people don't really understand or take time to find who their ideal client is. So they just have a marketing plan. And the marketing plan is going to attract a certain clientele. It might not be the ones that you're looking for. It might be the cheapest people and you're the most expensive product on the market. So you have to really test and measure often so you can put really healthy performance indicators up. So when you have a marketing team, for example, they know exactly what to do and how to brand you to get the result that you want. Because the result that you want is exactly what you need for your business. Pipeline and forecasts. This is huge. You need leads. And we just talked about the ideal type of leads. Well, there is a gap between when a lead comes in and when you actually close. And every industry is different. So this is called your pipeline. The pipeline just basically means all your leads are inside of those things and you have to do things to keep them moving through the pipeline to come out the other end. In other words, this is called a funnel. For all of you marketing people watching, this is the funnel, right? So if you have a lead that calls in, what is the next step to move them through that pipeline to get them to convert into a client or tell you, no, we don't want you? You have a sales process. Is there a sales process? Part of your sales process is intentional things you do to move them through the pipeline. All that needs to be systemized, written out, documented, and trained on. If you could focus on those things, trust me, you'll be less frustrated with all your efforts in marketing and all your efforts in accounting. And the last thing to leverage in your company is technology systems. Look, guys, we are in the 21st century. And if everything you do is old school, where you're writing things down on a calendar and you're using pen and paper, that might work for you, but that's not a scalable model. And again, it depends on you. It depends on somebody physically being there to do those systems. So I want to encourage you to leverage your company utilizing effective software systems, or what we call CRM systems, customer relationship management tools. Now, depending on the industry you're in, there are specific CRM tools that are out there that are designed specifically for your industry. For example, in the home service and construction industry, there's tools called Titan, House Call Pro, and many other industry-specific tools that can actually have automated things in there that help you do and run your business. If you are in other industries, such as the medical industry, there are a lot of specific software systems that allow you to take your notes and do your charts and things like that. If you are in the hair salon or dog grooming industry, there are plenty of things out there for you. It's almost as easy as Googling it and getting a lot of options to try out. Now, if I were you, I would try a few options and get on the phone with a couple of sales reps to see if it's the best fit for you, because all of them have different features and are at different price points. And that's really on you to figure out what's best. Now, let's talk about backups and redundancy. I did say that we're in the 21st century, so almost everything now is digital and stored on a cloud, or at least it should be. So with technology, we understand that there's a risk of losing things if you click one button. I've done it actually several times on accident without even trying. I erased a lot of my memory on my phone and my laptop, and the hardest part is to go over and find everything from different spots to just try to recreate what I had saved. So having different backups on different clouds and different servers is actually not a bad idea, especially if you're taking all this time to create systems and procedures like we're talking about right now. Back it up. So we have a physical copy we printed out and given to everybody. We have a copy on our desktop. We have a copy on our Google Drive, and we have a copy on our iCloud on our Apple computers. That's 4 backups that we have. So that way, if something happens to our physical copies, we have our laptops that are saved to. We also have a Google Drive and an iCloud Drive that we back everything up. So your system should include backing up everything that you do. The cool thing is if you actually use specific softwares or CRM systems, they should already have backups for those systems as well. At least they should. So that's probably one thing you want to make sure when you're looking for one is, do they properly back things up? And then lastly is automate as much as possible. Your time is super valuable, and you can no longer waste it doing things that no longer bring value to your business. For example, writing things down in a calendar. There are so many things that you can do to automate your systems. Go High Level is a great CRM system that I use to be able to send automated emails and text messages to clients to remind them about their appointments. I remember 5 years ago, I had my assistant looking at my calendar and sending out text messages and reminders. Now that we have an automated system to do that my assistant actually bought back so much time in a day. I have her doing other things that actually make the business money. That's what automation does for you. It gets you to automate all the busy things that you're doing, and it gets you to buy your time back to do something else a lot more valuable for your company. Automating marketing strategies. This is big. Before, you had to do 1 or 2 social media posts on your own and then post it. You actually have automation tools where you can actually schedule things out for the entire year if you just do everything once. This is the power of technology and AI. Utilize it to your benefit so you can scale your business and place you in a different time slot to do something different. At the end of the day, you are the business owner. You are the genius for your business. So you have to be operating in your genius. So in order to do that, you have to leverage your business and create systems for everything that you're doing, because one day somebody should be taking that over, or some system or automation tool should be taking that over. And if it's systemized and documented as far as how to do it, it'll be easier to train and there'll be less confusion because you don't have everybody guessing how to do it. And here's a bonus. There's actually a tool called Scribe that you could use to actually write out your systems and procedures. You just have to prompt it like ChatGPT or like, any other AI tool, and it will write out your systems and procedures. It does a great job. A lot of my clients actually use this. It writes out the systems and procedures. You just have to read it over and correct or evolve what needs to be evolved. It is a powerful tool, especially for crazy entrepreneurs like myself, where it's really hard to figure these things out on my own. I know that sounds like an ad, but it really isn't. I'm not getting paid for Scribe, but if you're listening, hit me up. We can do something here together. But anyways, I just wanted to give you a tool that you could research and actually look into, so that way you can have something help you write your systems and procedures. Hey everyone, if you liked this video, I really want to let you know that this information is actually on my online courses. This is like bonus material. And if you're already on my course, there you go. You're very welcome. Bonus material. But if you really intrigued by this information and say, you know what, I really need to learn how to really build my business the right way, I want to encourage you to go to the link below and sign up for my online courses and see where you could take your business by doing it right. By combining subscribing on my YouTube channel and registering for my courses, you could really get all this information and build your business the way it should be built, so that way you can actually have a business, not a job. Stay strong, guys.